Hello, my name is Mike and this is Guns and Horsepower. Today I'm going to test and review the Bauer 20 volt cordless tire inflator. Now about a month ago we're at the motocross track with some friends and one of them got a flat tire. I had brought some Slime tire sealant but their air compressor broke. So we drove around looking for someone's air compressor to borrow and a guy handed me a cordless inflator much like this Bauer here. Now I don't get out much so I'd never seen anything like it before. It worked perfectly and seemed to be a great tool to take to the track. Now Harbor Freight had this Bauer 20 volt cordless tire inflator for $25. I already had the battery and charger, so I went ahead and picked it up and started testing it out. Now I first tried it out on a car tire that was low about 4 psi. It took quite a long time to pump that up in my opinion, about 3 minutes to add those 4 psi. I wasn't even sure the inflator was working properly, so I went ahead and tested it out on a bicycle tire and it pumped that flat tire up in no time at all. Now I was using the 1.5 amp hour battery, and Bauer recommends on the box here, it says that you should use the 3 amp hour battery for extended run time. Now I'm wondering if the larger battery will also speed up performance. So today I'm going to show you how the tire inflator performs using the 1.5 amp hour battery. Then we're going to switch over to 3 amp hour battery and see if it speeds things up at all. I'm going to test it by inflating a car tire with 5 psi and then inflating a completely flat bicycle tire as well. Let's go ahead and get started. I've deflated the tire down to 35 psi. Go ahead and hook this up, lock it in. So here's the car tire portion of the test. We're going to increase it 5 psi with the 1.5 amp hour battery. Let's get started. So it took a minute 30 with the 1.5 amp hour battery to bring it up 5 psi. Let's go ahead and test out the 3 amp hour and see if it speeds it up at all. Alright, I've deflated the tire back down to 35 psi. Switch it to the 3 amp hour battery and see if it speeds things up. So we had a minute 30 for the 1.5 amp hour battery to increase it 5 psi. Now we've changed it to the 3 amp hour battery. Let's go ahead and see if it changes anything. So it did speed it up a little bit, a minute 19 versus a minute 30. Now let's go ahead and switch over to the bike tire and see if it makes a difference. Not like that's much of a difference. We saved ourselves about 11 seconds. Now let's conduct the bicycle tire portion of this test. I have the tire deflated all the way down to nothing. Let's go ahead and pump it up to 50 psi and see how long it takes with the 1.5 amp hour battery. Let's get started. So there you go. So the 1.5 amp hour battery inflated it from 0 to 50 in 28 seconds. Let's go ahead and switch to the 3 amp hour and see if it speeds things up at all. Alright, drained all the way down. Switch out the 1.5 with the Big Daddy. See here. So we had basically 28 seconds with the 1.5 amp hour battery. Let's reset and so once again, just a minimal difference in performance. We're at about 27 seconds, so we trimmed about a little bit more than a second off here. So there you go, based on our car tire and bike tire test, the 3 amp hour battery does speed things up just a little bit. Alright, well, we've concluded our test of the Bauer 20 volt cordless tire inflator, but I was curious to see, since I had the 3 amp hour battery, if it did increase performance, but it was minimal. But the tire inflator does work pretty well. It's pretty lightweight. The handle's pretty ergonomic. Got the button there. Even with the battery on, it's pretty easy to hold and handle. It's got a nice gauge there, but from what I found out, it reads a little low. When it says 40 psi, it's really about 42 compared to my electronic gauge, but we're close enough. It's got a spot up there for attachments. You got the one for your inflatables, one for balls, and then there's an additional Schrader valve adapter. I did not have to use that adapter on the standard car. The head worked just fine. Had a little holder up top there for the hose. And the head you press down and then you lock it. The only drawback I see to this inflator is this headpiece. It seems kind of flimsy. This is kind of a spring-loaded, it's plastic. It attaches right on the side there with those pins. As you can see, it doesn't look very robust in there. So I definitely see this as being the weak point to this inflator. So I'm going to definitely make sure I take care when I attach this, and you definitely don't want to step on this. It looks like it would squish right away. And from the looks of things, it looks like the hose is pressed in, so it's not replaceable. Other than that, the rest of the body seems pretty robust like the rest of the Bauer line. It's very convenient for filling up bike tires and car tires. I have an air compressor, but running the line is time consuming and sometimes it can be a bit frustrating. With this, it's very portable and convenient, and I can take it to the tires itself, and it saves a lot of time. I was able to fill up all the kids' bikes the other day in just a matter of minutes, where just running the line from my compressor alone out to the bikes would have taken just as long. It performs quite well. As you can see on the larger tires, it definitely takes longer, but that's to be expected. The 1.5 amp hour battery works just fine. You can use the 3 amp hour battery. It's obviously going to increase runtime, and as we saw from the test, it increased performance just by a few seconds. It speeded things up just a little bit. But I'm happy with this thing so far. I wish I knew about them earlier. This tool would have saved me a lot of time in the past, but I'm glad I found it now, and it's a great addition to any toolbox. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching this video. Please smash that subscribe button so I can continue making this content for you guys. Hit that like button and browse my channel for my other content. Thanks again for watching.